All right, good evening. Welcome to Search Engine Optimization for Dentists. My name's Chris O'Shea. I'm the Digital Marketing Manager at Samara, and today we're going to go through what search engine optimization is, how it can help dentists get to the top of Google, and what you need to do specifically. So let's jump right in. Right, so first of all, what is SEO? So SEO is search engine optimization. It's essentially what you can do to get your website to the top of Google or to get it found on the maps, that kind of thing. So it's essentially how good your website is in terms of the Google searches. So it's always changing. It used to be about things like keywords, which we'll go into later, but now it's more about the user experience. So it's how good your website is for the user. So how quick it is, how well it loads, how easy it is to use, how good it looks, all that kind of thing. So as you see at the bottom there, it governs local SEO, off-page SEO, and on-page SEO, which we're going to go through. So first of all, if you were to Google anything, the first things that come up are the pay-per-click adverts. So they're the things with ad next to them. So if you were to Google window repair, the first 3 or 4 things, well, 2, 3, 4 things that come up will all be adverts. They're what you pay for. They're not governed by SEO. There's no way to get them without paying. The next one, quite often you'll see, is a map with about 3 options underneath it, and it will show your local area and which of the 3 come up. That's the local SEO. That's governed by things like your reviews, your local backlinks, how well known you are in the area, that kind of thing. We'll go into that in a bit. Organic SEO is everything underneath that. So they're just the Google searches. And the better your SEO is, the higher you're going to be. So the number 1 search result is going to be the one with the best SEO. Right, the first thing you need to do is set up Google My Business. So just Google the phrase Google My Business and get your website, all your businesses onto there. So if you have more than 1 practice, get them all on there as separate practices, and then get all the information in there. Make sure your contact information is all the same. Not for each practice. What I mean by that is if you have a number on the website, which you will, make sure the spaces between the numbers are the same on the website and on Google My Business. Make sure that the address is all formatted the same. That used to mean a lot more to SEO. It doesn't mean as much now, but it's still good practice to get into. So these are the kind of things you can govern in Google My Business. So you can make posts, which we don't do that often. You can, but I'm not seeing that much engagement in them. You can see your insights, your reviews. You post your info like your business name and business type, opening hours. So if you Google, I don't know, McDonald's, the first thing that comes up on the right will usually be a picture of the nearest McDonald's to you, and it will have their things underneath like the opening hours, business description, website address, phone number. Again, that's governed by local SEO, and that's all governed in Google My Business. So make sure everything's on here. Get a few photos in there, list all your services, make sure your website's in there. Yeah, Google My Business is the first thing you need to do. So the next one is Google Search Console. This is a bit more techy. So if you've got a developer, they probably will do most of this side of it for you. But if you're building a website on your own, make sure you download and use Google Search Console. So it basically will give you a health check of your website. So it'll tell you everything you need to do in terms of fixing links, broken images, that kind of thing. All of those things will build up towards bad SEO. So make sure you do everything Google Search Console tells you to do. This is what it looks like on the back end. So you can see the performance, you can see the sitemap, which is essentially just the map of your website. So all your menus, that kind of thing. You have to upload it to there for Google. So again, if you've got a developer, they'll do this for you. If you don't, get on Google Search Console. It's fairly user-friendly, but you can Google Search Console help for beginners, and it will give you everything you need to know. Google are really good at making it, well, most things user-friendly. Right, on-page SEO, this is where most of the work's going to go into, and this is kind of my specialty. So on-page SEO is essentially all the stuff you do on the website to make the SEO better. There's loads of things you can do. Your gut instinct is probably going to be that you need to make it more complicated and that you need to know all these different things. No. The idea of SEO nowadays is to make things simple. It's to make websites easy to use, simple to use. The flow needs to be quick, simple, easy. That's what it's all about now. So here's what you need to do. So the first thing you need to do is download a tool like Rank Math or Yoast. So they're plugins for WordPress websites, but you can get them on quite a few other engines as well. And they're perfect. They're brilliant. They're probably the best 2 out there. They will literally tell you everything you need to do. So at the bottom of every page or post on the back end, you'll go down and you'll see a list of instructions with little X's next to them. And each time you complete one and give you a tick. Make sure you get as many ticks as possible. Just follow their instructions. They know what they're doing. So in simple terms, it's stuff like use your keywords in headers. So what that means is if you've got a page on, let's say, orthodontics in, no, let's say Invisalign Manchester, you want to try and make sure, because Invisalign and Manchester are the two key words there. They're the things you want people to Google and your page to come up. So make sure those words are in the header tags. So H1, in simple terms, is just the title of the page. So where it says put in the title, try and make sure Invisalign and Manchester are in there in some way, shape or form. And then try and get them into the subheadings all the way down the page. There'll be your H2, H3, H4 tags. So when you put in normal text, that's usually called a paragraph text. And then a subheading is a H text. A H tag. So just make sure your keywords are in there. A really good tip for that is at the end of every page. So say you've got a page on Invisalign Manchester, right at the bottom of it, just have a subheading saying, or a H tag saying further information on Invisalign Manchester, and then put a few links at the bottom of it to other parts of your website about orthodontics. It's a really good, really simple way of getting keywords into H tags on a page. So keep sentences and paragraphs short. We'll have a look at that in a minute because that's really important and a bit counterintuitive. Use images, videos, and graphs. So if you've got a lot of text, let's say you've got more than 500 words of text on a page, try and get an image in there. Make sure it's small in terms of the kilobyte size. Try not to use any images bigger than about 500 kilobytes, let's say. Big, clear, unmissable call to action buttons. That's really important. A call to action button is things like contact now, book now, call now, contact us. Make sure they're big, they're bold, they're easy to reach, they're easy to see. Make sure they work, but don't fill the page with them. Try not to give them too many options. So give them an option to contact you, give them an option to book now. You don't really need much more than that. Right, so the harder to read, the higher your bounce rates. When you write your pages, your blogs, your articles, you're going to try and want to write for dentists. Don't. You need to write for patients. Try and imagine your patient is about high school level in terms of reading ability. That's where you want to write at. You're going to want to try and write at undergrad level, postgrad level minimum. No. You need to put it at about high school level. That's the kind of jargon you need to use, the kind of explanatory text you need to use, that kind of thing. So merge similar pages, create pillar content. So if you've got a few blogs about, I don't know, top tips for cleaning teeth, put them all into one big piece of content instead. So instead of 3, 5 top tips, make one 15 top tips. And make sure your website is accessible. What we mean by that is make sure that people with auditory disabilities or visual disabilities can use your website easily. So essentially it's things like don't use light gray text on a white background, because if you have a visual disability, that's going to be very, very difficult to see. So just Google, is my website accessible? Most of the top results will be websites that let you check that. You just put your website in and it will let you know what you need to change, what colors don't work against each other, that kind of thing. Right, keywords, this is what we talked about earlier. Keywords are the tags that Google use to put your website against the relevant search terms. So again, dental implants, Invisalign bakery, how to get white teeth, these are all keywords or key phrases. So if someone Googles one of those things, the better your SEO, the more likely your website is to get matched with it. So again, keyword needs to be in the header, needs to be in the body text and the URL of the web page. So if your website is like ours, theantree.co.uk, you want to make sure that it says / and somewhere in the rest of that URL, you have the keywords dental implants, or you wouldn't put how to get white teeth because to and get, and even how to an extent, you don't really need them. Google knows those kind of words, it can filter them out. So white teeth or white teeth tips, that kind of thing. That's what you need to have in the URL. So the main focus keyword needs to be at the top of the page in H1 tags. Again, so dental implants needs to be in H1 tag, and it needs to be spread out throughout the text and in H2 and H3 and H4 and so on. So try to use keywords in a similar format to how they'd be used in the search. Don't worry too much about this. So how to get white teeth. Don't worry too much about getting that exact phrase in the page, because how can I get white teeth, or this is how to get white teeth, or these are the best tips for white teeth. Google will still be able to figure out that they mean the same thing. So these are some good top tips for them. So do research, keyword research on your competitors. So essentially, Google your services with your location at the end of it. So dental implants, Surrey. See who comes up. See what they're doing, and don't copy their text, but copy their strategy. Try and figure out what they're doing right and replicate that. So make use of long tail keywords. So dental implants, that's going to be really hard to get because you're competing against essentially every dentist in the country. So do best dental implants for a budget, or best dental implants for this kind of tooth, that kind of thing. Try and elongate them, try and narrow it down so that you're attacking more specific key phrases. Use them in the headings, use location keywords, like I just said. Don't just go for dental implants, go for dental implants London. Well, that's quite big. Go for dental implants Bury, that kind of thing. Put keywords in image, alt text. That's not as important as it used to be, but the meta description is. So if you Google anything, you'll have the title of the page and the URL just underneath it, or a series of these on the Google page. Then underneath that, you'll see about 2 lines of text explaining the page. That's the meta description. That's all governed. Or if you download Yoast and Rank Math, it'll be governed there, so that makes it easier. Start a blog. They're the perfect excuse, and FAQs. So if you want to use long tail keywords like what are the best dental implants for this kind of age, let's say, an FAQ is perfect, because you can write out every keyword you want to attack on a page, every long tail key phrase, and just answer them in an FAQ. It's a perfect excuse. Use location on treatment pages. So don't have a page on dental implants, have a page on dental implants in Grimsby, because there's going to be far fewer dentists in Grimsby than there are in the UK. And decide which pages you want to rank and focus on them. So your about page, you don't really have to focus SEO wise on that, because people aren't going to Google that and want to look for it. You know what I mean? They're going to want to find your fees page. They're going to want to find your Invisalign page. They're going to want to find your location pages. So they're the ones you want to attack. So this is the meta description I talked about. It's the little paragraph underneath it. Download Rank Math or Yoast, and they will govern it for you, or at least they'll let you do it. Website structure, you want to make it really easy. So don't make a huge website with loads of pages, loads of submenus, everything hidden underneath each other, and it's all a bit of a spider's web of information. You want to keep it as simple as possible. I mean, if possible, make your website as small as possible in terms of pages. You don't really need much more than a page for each of your clinics, a page for your staff, page for each of your treatments, fees, maybe a smile gallery. So keep it simple, because that's what Google likes. Nothing page-wise should really be more than 3 clicks away. I mean, is there anything really you can think of that they shouldn't be able to find within 3 clicks? So try and make everything navigation-wise as simple as possible. And this is a really good pro tip. So find someone who's not seen your website before, tell them a random page, give it to them, and see how long it takes them to find it. Because believe me, if someone can't find what they're looking for within about 5 to 10 seconds, well, no, less than that, for about 5 seconds of landing on your website, they will get bored, click back, and find a different website that's easier. Now that I've said it, you're going to realize you're doing it all the time. It's one of those weird internet psychology things. Right, local SEO, this is how to get it. So results are found in the map section. It's called a snack pack, this thing on the right here. So these results get 33% of all clicks on average. So you really want to make sure you get in there. And they're not just found on Google, these appear on other search platforms. So yeah, local SEO is really important. It's all about trust, this one. It's about how reputable you are, how trustworthy you are. So this is how to do it. It uses your information from Google My Business, Bing Places, Apple Maps, that kind of thing. Make sure you get onto them, but remember that Google is the one. So put most of your effort into that. So NAP should be identical. That's your name, address, and phone number. So make sure the gaps are all the same, the format's all the same. If you say High Street, make sure you put that rather than High ST. Again, it's not as important as it used to be, but it's really good practice to get into. Get as many local citations as you can on websites. So things like Yelp, 118, your local business directories, your council probably have one. Anything in your area that lists businesses, get yourself on there. You'll be able to put a listing on there. Usually they're free. Quite often they want you to pay for it now. I'm not sure if that's worth it. So just go for the free ones for now, like 118 and Yelp. And just make sure you get really, the main thing you're looking for there is a backlink, which is where you've put your website onto that citation, and it then becomes a clickable link where someone can click it and it goes back to your website. And that's what you want. We're going to go into why they're important in a bit. Encourage reviews from patients. So Google reviews are one of the biggest factors that govern this. So make sure you're getting reviews on Google as often as possible, even if it means giving an incentive. Believe me, it will pay itself back, because the more Google reviews you have and the better Google reviews you have, the more Google trusts you, because your patients trust you, the local area trusts you, and they'll put you higher in the local SEO rankings. And make sure your website is mobile friendly. I'm actually going to go into this in a bit. We used to say make sure your website's mobile friendly, but now we say mobile first, because a few years ago people were talking about, oh, in a few years the internet traffic's going to be higher on mobile than anything else, and that's happened. Now the majority of people are going to be looking at your website on a mobile, so you have to make sure your website looks good from a mobile, not just from a laptop or a desktop. Page speed is now key. This used to not be as important, but last year Google brought in a new update which changed how they rank SEO. And one of the things they changed is that page speed has become really important. So the quicker your page loads, the better you're going to do. The slower it loads, the worse you're going to do by a long margin. So that's why you need to have smaller images. That's why you need to have a simple website. That's why everything needs to be easy, simple, fluid. Make sure it's quick. A lot of this side of it you probably won't be able to do yourself. So if you've got a developer, phone them and essentially just say to them, make my website faster, whatever you have to do. Phone your internet provider or your server provider and say to them, I want to make my internet quicker. I want to make the website quicker. Boost me up, and pay for it, because it will pay itself back in SEO ranking. So make sure your main page is loading under 2 seconds. So you can, there's loads of websites out there. Just Google website speed check or speed test, put your website in or a certain page, and it will tell you exactly how long it took to load. And if it's under 2 seconds, you're doing okay. But you kind of want to get it to 1 second max. Yeah, they're really good tools, these. So like I said, mobile first, not mobile friendly. As you can see here, this is for one of our websites. This is our traffic. I can't remember what the time frame is, but as you can see, mobile is now more than desktop and tablet combined. So it's not enough anymore to make sure your mobile works, your website works on mobile. You need to make sure that it works mainly on mobile, and then worry about the laptop or the desktop. So when you're designing a page, make sure you have the preview setting on mobile, so that you can see what it looks like on a mobile page, because that's what you're building it for now. Preview all the pages, use mobile screen dimensions for images. Again, you can just Google this kind of thing. Create mobile only versions of landing pages. So if you've got PPC ads or you've got backlinks out there that land on certain pages, try and make sure that they've got a mobile only version, because then you know it's going to look good. So you keep your designs and layout simple. Think about the position of your call to actions. So are they easily accessible with the thumb? So hold your phone in your hand, see where you would put your thumb to click it. Make sure your call to actions are in the same place. Make it easy for people to click those buttons, and make sure your phone numbers are clickable. Again, there's something you can Google. It'll tell you exactly how to do it, and that way they can just click the number on the screen, and it will go straight to their calls. Right, backlinks, really, really, really important. Backlinks are essentially other websites that you don't own linking back to you, a backlink. So in Google's eyes, this is other websites saying, yes, this website does do what it says on the tin. This website is about dentistry. It is about dental implants in London. It is about whatever that backlink's about. So the more you've got, the more trusted you look to Google. But it also matters what the external website is like to Google. So if you get a backlink from backlinksforyou.com, Google's not going to care about that. In fact, they might actually penalize you. But if you've got a backlink from the NHS or your local I don't know, a local church talking about dentistry, that's brilliant, because that's going to look a lot better to Google because it's a reputable or a local website. So a really good tip for that is to be a guest blogger. So there's going to be companies or institutions in your area, like schools, care homes, churches, places of worship. They're all going to have newsletters. They're going to have people who read those newsletters. They might have adverts. So offer to write a blog for free once a month, once every quarter, something like that, about, I don't know, if it's a school, top tips for keeping kids' teeth healthy, top tips for healthy snacks, alternatives to chocolate, that kind of thing. And then make sure they get on the website, make sure it links back to you, and then you've got a local backlink. It's as simple as that sometimes. Right, trusted authority, that's become a huge thing with the new update. So make sure you're as reputable and trustworthy as possible. So things like social proof, which is it's essentially other people who don't work for the company or don't run the website giving you a thumbs up. So things like reviews, shares and comments and likes on social media, that kind of thing. So make sure you've got at the bottom of every page where you've got a blog or an article, make sure whoever's wrote it, information is at the bottom there listed. And on every single page on your website, make sure the footer has your regulation information, your website, like the company address, the phone number, any copyrights or trademarks, that kind of thing. Put everything official there. Make yourself trustworthy, authoritative. Google loves that now. Right, so start a blog as soon as you can. This is probably the best top tip I can give to anyone for SEO, because it's the best way to A, get keywords on your page, but B, to be constantly updating your website with dentistry related things, because that's what Google wants to see. If you make a website and then leave it for 5 years, it could be the greatest website in the world, but Google is going to forget about it. Google's going to think, well, they haven't done anything in 5 years. Are they still around? Who knows? So you want to post or update or change the website once every month, week, couple of times a week, couple of times every 2 weeks, something like that. So even if it's just a 500-word blog once a week, perfect. Once a week, you're posting something about dentistry, reminding Google that this website's about dentistry. So again, make sure you're not writing for dentists. Make it easily readable, clear, simple. So imagine it's a bored 16-year-old. You have to make it engaging, you have to make it a little bit funny, you have to make it interesting, you have to make it shareable, and you have to make it easy to read. Don't use jargon, don't assume they've got a degree, because they're going to get bored. So one thing that's really useful to do, go onto BBC right now, or any website that's been around for a while, and look at any page and look at this paragraph, look at this paragraph structure. There's no paragraph longer than 2 sentences. Some of those paragraphs are 1 sentence. Most of the sentences themselves won't have any more than 1 clause. Some of them have 2, a handful will have 3. That's how you need to write now. So your instinct is going to be to write for a publication or for an essay with long paragraphs, with structure, like a really rigid structure with a beginning, middle, and end, and an intro and a conclusion. And no. Nowadays, you have to keep it simple. Make sure your sentences, your paragraphs are about 1 sentence long. Keep it all simple. Keep it all clean. It's kind of counterintuitive, but it seems to work, and it'll take a while to get you. It took me so long to train myself out of writing in an essay style, but once I did, I noticed a real difference. Right, so this is the algorithm update they did. So it used to be backlinks, keywords, local SEO speed, mobile friendliness, brand awareness. But they change it. They change it about once a year. They don't really tell us how they're changing it exactly. It keeps on our toes. It's so we can't play the system, because eventually digital marketers get really good at it, and the top website isn't anymore the best website for the search term. It's just the one with the best SEO, and that's not really helpful to the user, and that's what Google cares about now. They don't really care about us anymore. They care about the user. So this is what they're looking for. This is the actual quote they gave out. So it makes the website more delightful for users, and it gets more engaging and can transact with less friction. So it needs to be easy, more engaging, and better is essentially what they're looking for. So these are the things you need to look out for now: loading, interactivity, and visual stability. Now, what does this mean? So loading is how long it takes a page to load from a user point, so make it quick. Interactivity is how long does it take a user to interact with the website, so make your call to actions clear, easy to see, and easy to use. And visual stability. So if you imagine that you open a page, once upon a time, especially on mobile, you'd quite often click a link, but suddenly an image above it would load that hadn't loaded yet, and then that's moved down. You've clicked the wrong place. Maybe you clicked a link you didn't mean to. That's an unstable website, and Google hates that now. So make sure everything loads really easily, quickly. There's different plugins you can get, like Lazy Loader, that'll make sure things don't load until they have to. That'll make your website quicker, but again, get your developer onto this if they haven't already. So here's some tips. Right, so check your competitors. This is probably digital marketing 101. Just Google what you want to be top of the website, the internet for, see what they're doing, and try and replicate it. Again, don't copy their text, but try and make sure you're doing something similar, because it obviously works, so copy it. So here's what you can do to speed up your website: reduce errors and broken links. So if you've got a page that doesn't work anymore, delete it, because Google hates that. Reduce your images, remove large elements. These are all things you can do. If you don't understand these things and you don't have a developer, just Google them, and it will explain how to do them all. Use a heat map. This will show you where people are clicking. So as you can see from this image here, people are trying to click the image of the woman, but it's not a clickable link. It's just an image. So what that says is people are trying to click things that don't work. They want that to be something clickable. So make it something clickable. Easy as that. Think about accessibility, check your fonts and backgrounds, make sure that if you're colorblind, you can still see them. If you've got visual impairment, you can still see them. Again, just Google it. Google accessibility website check, and it will tell you exactly what you need to do. Call to actions, don't overuse them. All you really need is book now, call now, contact form, and subscribe to a newsletter or a offers page, that kind of thing. Keep it dental, fairly simple, but yeah, make sure you're using dentist, dental practice, clean, that kind of thing in the page, in the text, because you need to make sure Google knows that this is a dental website. So make it very obvious. Use images as often as you can without overdoing it, and try not to make them too big. So you can literally Google image, make this image smaller, or make JPEG smaller, something like that on Google. There'll be free websites where you can make it smaller. Keep everything simple. So if audiences cannot find what they want, they will leave your website. Don't let it take more than 5 seconds or 3 clicks for them to find anything. Once they land on it, they need to be able to find your Invisalign page within 3 clicks or 5 seconds, because otherwise they'll go back and they'll find a better page for it, or a better website, sorry. Don't overcrowd it with too much text. Keep it clean and simple. Once upon a time, you went on pages and you had text in the middle and you had like picture links on each side and a huge menu and everything was cluttered, and that's how they worked. Nowadays, that's not what people like. They like really clean, simple, some stuff at the bottom maybe, but that's out of the way. You can't really see that. So things on the left and right, try to keep that to a minimum. Use social proof. Make sure you're getting shares, comments, likes, reviews, that kind of thing. Engage your customers. Make sure they're getting something out of it. Make sure you're getting something out of it. So make sure you're getting reviews from them. So if it means you need to offer incentive, do so. But get video testimonials, especially get before and afters, put them into a small gallery online and on your social media. It just makes you look good. So use multimedia. If you can use a combination of images, videos, infographics, animations, and podcasts, like audio stuff, that's brilliant. Websites like Canva, that's a really good way to use, a really good way to create infographics and images and flyers, that kind of thing. So test your website regularly. This is something everyone in the world needs to do, and they don't, me included. So go through your website every 2 weeks, something like that. It'll take you half hour, maybe, if you've got a big website, but just read everything and click every single link, every single button. Just make sure they work, because things will break without you knowing, without you realizing, and Google doesn't like it. So just test everything. So here's some useful tools for you to use. Download Ahrefs. You have to pay for it, but it's absolutely worth it, especially early on when you're first building your website. It's one of the best tools out there for keyword research, that kind of thing. You can put in any website in the world, whether you own it or not. It'll tell you everything you need to know about its SEO, and you can figure out which keywords you can attack, which ones you can win, which ones you can get into the top 10 for. Sendinblue is really good for marketing and automation. You can just send it to anyone who signs up to a newsletter form that I put on my website. They get sent these 10 emails once every month, let's say. Really good, really good. So Rank Math and Yoast, this is the keyword list I told you about, the checkpoint list I told you about, sorry. So you can see it's telling you exactly what you need to do. So we've got a couple there that we've got X's for, so keyword density, we need to put the keyword in there more, and you've already used this focus keyword, we've already got a page on that. So we can merge those 2 pages. So this is the summary I need to give you right now. Start a blog now and post once a week. Do it as soon as you end this. It'll be so easy for you. You think, oh my God, I can't be asked to write a blog once. That's going to be ridiculous. No. It's so easy when it's something you do for a living, when it's something you like, when it's something you love. 500 words is going to be nothing. So if you do 5 top tips for keeping your teeth clean, and believe me, there are loads of top tips that you know that patients don't and you take for granted. Put them down. Write 100 words on each, which is a few lines basically, and you're done. So I only found out recently things like you're not meant to rinse just after brushing your teeth because it gets rid of the goodness that the toothpaste is giving you. I didn't know that kind of thing. So make sure you're telling people this, because you can take for granted thinking everyone knows it and they don't. It's really simple, it's really easy, and whether people read it or not is kind of irrelevant, because all you need is that SEO karma of Google knowing, right, this is a website, it's posted once a week on dentistry, show it to people who are looking for dentists. So set up Google My Business, Google Search Console, get Rank Math or Yoast, keep the website fast, keep it accessible, create a mass emailing system so you can get some remarketing going, and use a heat map and spy on the competition. Just Google things, see what they're doing, try and do the same thing. Right, that's all we have time for today, but we'll be doing more digital marketing webinars in the future. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at chris@samara.co.uk, and I will make sure I answer as many questions as I can, and I'll try and find out the best answers for you. Right, thank you very much for listening. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your evening.